the weekend. I don't know if
Yeah.
people had time to read them, if they want to put them off, or if we comfortable with them and we can get them voted on tonight.
I was okay with what Don circulated 23 hours ago, but that if folks aren't ready, we can also wait.
I was good with it too. There were a couple of corrections he got out. And anyone else have an issue or had time to read them?
I'm good.
All right. Do you want to make a motion then, Chris? And we'll.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Don from February and March meetings as presented.
Second.
Chris and Geetha. All right, we'll do a roll call. Is Frank? I don't see. Oh, here he is.
Oh, he's there. He's there.
Yeah.
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
Is Lisa on yet? She's my next on my list. I do not see her. Okay. So Brendan?
I'm going to abstain on the February, and because I was not present, and I am a yay on the March 3rd. Thank you.
Todd?
Aye.
Okay. Geetha? You.
It's on a second.
Yeah. Yeah. John is not going to be on tonight. Colleen?
Yes, I'm both.
Okay. Chris, Mark?
Aye.
Richard?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
And Emily?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move on to Lynch School. So I know that we were expecting the backup a lot sooner, and we got it out today, but there's a change order number 10 that's kind of pressing that Andy can discuss.
You should be able to share, Andy.
So we have three PCO for change order 10. The first, can you guys see my screen before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is PCO 24R2 for the school signs. At the owner's request, 2 school signs to be added to the project. I think at the time when the bidding document went out, this was not on the contract document. So we're doing it as a change order. This PCO costs include 2 brick and phenolic sign and associated concrete foundation. This PCO include lighting for Pond Street / Brennan Road. So sign only with associated trenching and electrical connection from the building to the sign. There's no lighting or power included for the Horn Brookside, and it's for $141,283.74. PCO 66R1. This is for additional roof drain. So this the small roof area over the exit from stair 3 at the east entrance of the C wing. This require additional of the roof drain that was not shown on the contract document. So the design team missed this. The initial cost for this is initially like $8,500. But we negotiated with the plumber and make this a zero change because they made a mistake. There was an error that they installed, like the pipe for the sink on site. So in order to mitigate that, the design team has made an 8 inches deep sink instead of a 10 inches deep. Because of the plumber error, and this was accepted by the owner for the change and the design team. So initially they gave us very little credit, but we're going back and forth for like 2 or 3 weeks. So finally they accept to exchange it for this $8,500 for this PCO 66R1 to make it a $0 change. Next PCO is 76A. This is the bullet resistant vestibule to the reception door. So this is for $25,898.92. So during the review of the door and frame shop drawing, the design team questioned whether the owner would prefer to upgrade the door and door frame from 2 vestibule to the main office and the pre-K offices to bullet resistant grade. It was agreed that this would be appropriate and make it consistent with the rating of the adjacent sliding transection window, which we already own as a bullet resistant grade. This also, I know that you mentioned, this committee mentioned that we don't want any pieces PCO, but this have a lead time to it. It has a 10 weeks lead time. There is a second portion of it, but we need to get this material because there's a 10 weeks, so we can get the material here probably in like early June and get this installed. So we did get like a rough order of magnitude, like there's like a second portion, it's about 8,500. Like they need to fix the existing door frame to accommodate this. And plus there's like some glazing that they have to purchase for $2,000. So the total of the second portion is about $8,500. But we want to get this, this lead time, we want to get this PCO for the material order for $25,898.92. So the total change order 10 is $167,182.66. Any question?
Just an
Ethan?
information question, Andy. If these expenses, would that be considered as a reimbursable for MSBA? Just curious, that's all I'm asking. Yeah.
Usually, to be honest, like the
Like 3
owners
signs,
ad,
Mhm.
usually
only-
the anything owners ad, they don't reimburse for any
Okay.
owners ad. If it's an error like omission, usually they will reimburse that.
So like school signs, asking for 2 more signs, but you have 2 entrances, won't qualify. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they will not reimburse.
Okay.
Emily?
Thanks.
Sorry. So I assume you guys have vetted it with the school about the one sign being lit versus the other, and that's what everyone agrees on.
Yeah, the other one just wasn't feasible at all because of the bridge and everything.
Okay.
So this one, we're coming off near the solar panel, near the solar array for the canopy to get to the Pond Street. And
Yeah, I
the
guess
other one, we went back and forth, and it's the other end of the parking lot, and it just wasn't feasible to do that. We did get a number, Andy, right? Trenching and at one time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it was a lot of money, Emily, to get
Okay.
that.
It just seemed like the neighbors on the side where the sign is going to be lit are the more concerned neighbors. So I just thought that was interesting. So I assume there's some kind of controls with the sign so that if it becomes an issue, we could reprogram them so that they go off by, I don't know, whatever it is, 7, 8 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah, there is a lighting control in the building, and also, I mean, even the design, Chris might jump in on this, but it's just gonna be a backlit like the high school. It's very subtle. It's just to catch you as you're coming down the street. It's not aiming at the sign, we don't think. The design is
Correct.
to be backlit letters.
Okay. And it sounds like there's flexibility. So later on, it can be adjusted if
Right.
it's a thing. Okay. And then my question on PCO 66. So Andy talked about the plumber conceding to this. I assume the roof is already in place. Does the roofer have a piece of this work? Or do they not roof over where this drain is going?
So I believe this PCO is including everything already. It has the changes. I don't believe that there's any additional roof require for this.
Okay. I was just thinking like if the drain wasn't
Yeah.
caught, already roofed in, they'll have to cut, flash around it,
No,
blocking stuff. I don't know.
sorry. If I can jump in real quick, this is Chris Sharkey. The roof drain and all that is already in. The roof's already tight. So I don't even think the roofer honestly really.
Realized. Okay.
Yeah, and so I think they were just going,
Okay.
and yeah. So I don't think we'll have any issues on that one.
Okay, great. And then my last question on number 76, you already mentioned that you have to modify the frame a little bit to accept the glass. the bolt resistant glass, but you don't have to order any new frames or new doors. You can just modify the trim to accept it. Is that what you guys are going to do?
Yeah, there's some T&M work that needs to be done, and it's about 2 guys for like 2 days for 6,500, and then there's like some glasses that they have to order for like $2,000. That's the rough order magnitude they give us, but they try to get the exact quote, but it's about 8,500 extra for the second portion of it.
Okay, because this is going right in like a storefront aluminum frame system, so that all can stay in place. They don't have to take any of that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yeah. But they need to make a little modification, yes.
Okay. Are there any aesthetic impacts to that? I assume that Chris and his team looked over it and they don't have any issue with the way it's going to look. Like it's not going to look wonky or anything.
I don't think it's going to look wonky.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Chris?
appreciate that though.
Chris Nixon?
Yeah, Andy, can you stop sharing for just a second?
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to offer some background, especially for folks like Brendan who like weren't around when the conversation started. So we actually raised the issue of permanent site signage with TAP A and our OPM back in October of 23. And it was felt that, and we kind of went around a little bit about what the approach should be. We were kind of very interested in, let's see here. There were some recent examples. I don't know if you guys can see that up at Essex at the Ag Vogue School. There's some permanent signage that kind of mimics the design, the materiality, if you will, of the building. Some of them have the electronic and programmable signs. And we felt like it would be appropriate for us to do something similar to what we did at Winchester High School, where the sign right up there on Skillings is built with the same materials and kind of takes on the same design theme. But the filed sub bids were coming in I think mid-November. And of course that would be, electrical, some other trades. So it was just felt like it was a little too late to actually come up with a design in time for the bid package. It made more sense to focus on some of the bigger things on the bid package and let TAP A come up with some options. And they did. I think Jay and Frank, they had like 3 or 4 options that they had shared with us. And we settled on kind of one of the simpler options, to be honest with you. It's a lot of money, but it's a permanent sign, which is nice. And I think, giving up power, Emily on the back is okay. I mean, it'd be nice if we could light them both, but I think as Chris was acknowledging, they're kind of backlit. There's some lights behind those panels. So it shouldn't be much of a distraction, but sounds like that's something we could put into our lighting controls if we had to, if it became an issue.
Definitely. Any other questions on this? It's on the manager's letter, so we don't have to vote on it now anyways. We'll pick it up at the end, right?
Yeah, we could do that.
Keep it simple. Okay, we can move on to the technology review. That's Andy again.
So one more update is the move RFP. I know we've been working with the school back and forth to finalize the move, because we have like some storage from different schools. So that was out today. So we should get pricing back from the mover in like 3 weeks. We'll have a walkthrough with them next week, and then we should have pricing some in April for the May vote. So technology. So we got 3 quotes. First quote is for GCI for the technology package. This include the teacher Chromebook, the USB docking, the laptop docking station, iPad, the wireless, the keyboard, and I think they have iPads in here, but that's not the iPad itself. It's the cover. The color printer with toner, student Chromebook. So basically everything you see here over here with GCI for a total of $377,524.55 for GCI. We have JMF for the licenses for $1,237.50. And then here you can see the student iPads from Apple for $90,900. So where we are with the budget, so for the technology equipment, we're at $468,124.55. This is a little bit over higher than the what we were estimating. So it was, when we estimated, it was about $444,550 for the technology equipment. So overall, with these three quote that we got, the total for all the technology that we have encumbered will be $1,439,132.29. We're still under by about a little bit over 60,000 out of our $1.5 million technology budget. So we hope to get a vote tonight on these three items. Any question on the technology?
Andy, I have a quick question. Are we expecting anything else that will dig into that overall budget, or is this it? Is there anything missing that we know of?
I don't think so. Andrew, do you know if you guys are missing anything else?
In terms of technology, I believe this is what we planned for. Yeah, I think the thought was, yeah, we'll move in and then revisit if we've missed something. But this is a significant portion of what we need to open the school.
And how does this, last question is, how does this relate to the other schools? As far as technology, are we in line? Have we changed anything?
Yes, in terms of technology, it's either equal to what we're offering right now in schools, or it's sort of setting the standard. So a change here is Chromebooks for teachers, which will be a new standard at lunch. And then along with the interactive 5-panel displays, we moved away from projectors, and this is the new sort of standard we're looking to adopt here. Also a new phone system through Mitel, our current district phone system. The company doesn't sell phones anymore. So this is a new standard for that. And then a little reverse on the outside of technology, but the security side, we've been making changes in the district, and Lynch is on with that new standard too.
Okay. Frank, comment?
Andrew, do you want to talk just a little bit about just changing your Chromebooks? It's not just the fact that we're just swapping out to a different device. It does have implications for long-term licensing costs district-wide.
Yes. Yeah, correct. So so we're a district, we're primarily a Google district now, and on the district side, we purchased kind of this kind of a premium level to the Google support that we have. And so for us not being kind of moving away from that Windows environment and that Windows backend, so we don't sort of manage Active Directory anymore and those components. So moving to Chromebooks seemed to kind of be in alignment with that. And these Chromebooks are similar, if not a little more powerful than our current Windows laptops, and they have local storage and interact with the apps. And we've done like significant amount of testing with the interactive displays and how those work and any of our peripherals that we use with these. So yeah, so it's sort of kind of maybe you can have a kind of professional level Chromebooks, which we've adopted here. And then kind of long term, so the cost up front for device Windows to Chromebook, it's similar if you buy the kind of beefier version that we have here for teachers. But then in the long term, we don't have to spend as much time running Windows updates. We don't have to do separate licensing for endpoint management per device annually. That's all included as part of our Google subscription. So long term, that standard will help kind of save us money throughout the district.
Chris?
Hey, Andy or Frank, I may put you on the spot here, but in the cafeteria, excuse me, no, in the gymnasium, the sort of gymnasium auditorium space for special events, do we have a projector in there, up
Yes.
at the raft, up at the trusses.
Yes, that's a good point too. So we do have a new projector there, and also sort of making that a new standard for gymnasium auditorium, where it's a rear projector, so you don't have to shoot the image across the whole gym. Instead, it goes on the back of the stage and shoots in reverse on a screen that you can see through it. So it's much more economical in the future to replace that and maintain it.
Okay, and we've picked that up, right, in a prior authorization somewhere.
Yeah, I believe that would have
Yeah, I believe
that was in the
there's
base bid, right?
usually the projector in the gym in the base bit. I have to double check where. I think maybe Griffin owned that. I have to double check.
So that'd be good just to be extra careful on that one, because sometimes you might expect that to be in the FF&E, Andy. And then where I'm going with this, and Andrew and Frank are well aware that from time about every 2 or 3 years at town meeting, the presentations get hard to read because the bulbs start to fail in the projector. And we learned, much to our chagrin, after the high school renovation, this is around 2021, maybe 2022, that the reason that it was getting dim is that the bulbs were like $150, Jay. They were incredibly expensive.
Yep.
And the district was deliberately like just waiting for them to die. Because they were just so much money. So understanding this is a rear projection, Andrew, maybe the bulb doesn't have the same sort of lumens and it's not as expensive, but you know, where I'm going with this do we have the right attic stock for bulb replacement for any projectors we have in the building? Because especially if there's money left over, that may be something to evaluate. I mean, I don't know what Andrew or Frank think about that, but if bulbs are expensive, I'd hate for us to have to put in purchase orders for, even if they're $50, that's a lot of money if we can somehow buy them in bulk and put them in a box somewhere in the building.
Yes, yeah, it's true. So I believe the projectors are just limited to the cafeteria and the gymnasium, and that's something that could be worthwhile. These are larger projectors, so they are pricier to get those bulbs.
Would you be okay using some of our 70 grand left over, Jay, to buy some bulbs?
Yeah, we should probably put on the next spend authorization, get a price, right? As long as we have a place to put them, you know.
Yeah.
We got
Not
so they don't
Parkhurst,
go-
Jay. We
somewhere.
got Parkhurst all day long.
There you go.
They'll be in a file cabinet in the superintendent's office.
Probably.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Andy on the technology? Oh, Richard, go right ahead.
Yeah, Jay. And you talked about the Chromebooks going to teachers or students receiving these as well, and where are the iPads going?
Yes, I can take that one, Jay. Hi, Richard. Good evening. There are student Chromebooks as well. So some for those direct classroom needs, and the iPads are going to be at the preschool level, and then they also use them in the art and STEM classes, I believe. So some of those more the lower grades, I think grade 1 and preschool, they don't use, Chromebooks are a little tougher, so the iPads are more helpful in their educational experience.
Okay. And will the students be taking these home? Or are they going to be?
No, these are all district-owned devices.
Okay.
We have a separate program and through the district side that if students need a device for home, we'll provide that, but that's not through this project.
Okay. So, thanks.
670 Chromebooks or iPads, Rich.
I'm sorry, Chris.
670 devices between Chromebooks and iPads.
Okay.
And I think Andy's highlighting that there with his cursor there on the right.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. We already did the RFP for the move-in. We jumped on that. So we can move on to the high school.
Want me to give a quick update, Jay?
Yes, please.
So the pre-bid conference was last week. Andrew was there, so he can fill in with a little more detail here, but I think the overall impression was very positive. We had at least 8 contractors show up, more than what was expected. There were a lot of questions that came in. So spoke with Jenny at SGH this afternoon. And so she has been coordinating the answers to those questions. So there's 2 addenda that have just been issued actually today. Addendum 1 had answers to 10 questions, went out this morning. Addendum number 2 was issued maybe 3 hours ago. That just required a little more coordination with the town. Questions like, how are we supposed to treat existing electrical? Does the conduit come down before we work? The answer was no, conduit stays in place. This is how you need to work around the conduit. What kind of lighting is available? And so she provided that information, what lighting is available in certain wings and other wings where it's not. Other questions like, what are we supposed to do with the wastewater after the treatment? The answer was nothing. So those kinds of questions are out there and have answers. Jay, Frank, and Andrew, I think we will need to issue maybe a third one because maybe some wires got crossed. So in the second addendum that went out this afternoon, it said the space is available for construction starting on Monday, June 23rd. So that was our published last day of school before the snow, and we've had 1 snow day. So I have sent to Jenny that would actually be Wednesday, the 25th. So I think it might make sense for her to get that out as a clarification. But the bids are going to be due at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, April 2nd. And what I want to just, Jay, if I can remind the EFPBC of is that at previous town meeting, remember, we asked for money for the SACI work, and we were very careful in how we described that project. We told town meeting we'd be coming back in the spring for another request for topside work. That is happening. Capital Planning Committee has already put that article forward, so it's into the warrant. I think we're asking for $355,000. The hope was that if the bids come in low on this SACI work, those dollars are fungible and could be applied towards the topside work. If Meg were here tonight, she would say, even if the bids come in low, she would like to actually make some progress on the project before we start banking on those dollars in case something comes up and there's a change order. So we'll have to see how those bids come in. But I just want to throw that out there in terms of timing, particularly for you, Frank, and the school committee, is that, with the bids coming in on April 2nd and financial articles can be taken up at town meeting, the first meeting in May. I hope there doesn't have to be, but there might need to be some sort of a motion to amend on the financial article. It just depends how the numbers come in. I hope we don't have to, but especially since 8 contractors showed up. So we'll have to kind of play that by ear. And hopefully, maybe Jay, at the next meeting, I could get the article out to EFPBC. And if we wanted to recommend favorable action, we could do that. We did last time, for the lower level work.
Good idea.
Andrew, what sort of color or detail would you offer from the pre-bid conference this last week?
Yeah, I'll add it was very well attended. They had a lot of good questions. And also the vendor who owns the product of which we're applying, I'm forgetting the name, Chris, but the surface applied, the inhibitor itself, that vendor was there to answer some specific questions too.
Great.
I think a lot of the vendors just kind of saw the scale of the project too. It is a lot of work under there and some interesting spaces to work under too. So.
And they actually got into some of the crawl spaces, right?
Correct. Yeah. They toured. Yeah, I think all areas of the building we got under E, B, C, D, and E.
That's great. Thank you for being available for that.
Sure thing.
Frank left his boots at home that day.
I'm just gonna say, first of all, Andrew didn't love it. He talked about it being kind of scary, and that just confirmed my decision to not bring my boots to work that day. So,
Any other questions for Chris on this?
I mean, the only question I have, Chris, is based on the attendance and the number of questions. Are they just a clarification for coordination and not a concern? It might bump up the price. Just curious.
Yeah, I would say so. I will. I mean, if I can find them quickly, if the chair is okay with it, I can pull them up real quick and just share with you what these look like. Yeah, I got them. Let me, I'll try to make this big enough that people can see. I think we're ahead of schedule, so I think we can share this without messing anybody's evening up tonight. Is this all right, Jay? You want me to share
Yes.
this?
Yeah, go
Okay.
right ahead.
Yeah, so this is addendum 1. This was actually made available at like 10 o'clock this morning. So I think there was maybe a clarification that this was single source for one of the for the product. There was some language here about how to prepare the concrete. There was a clarification here for the flow rate for application for the SACI. And that just came from Jenny and her team. So I mean, having reviewed the bid docs. So here we get to the question. So do conduits attached need to be relocated? The answer is no. No relocation is required. Is the application only to the underside? Yes. Will SACI be applied to areas of metal decking? No. Does water from washing the concrete need to be reclaimed or captured? No. That'll just seep into the soil. Will areas with electrical connections be treated differently? Yes. Do not wet electrical connections in the process of cleaning. Use a wet bristle brush for cleaning and roller apply the corrosion inhibitor as needed. When can the work start? This is the one we need to clarify, Jay and Frank and Andrew. We're off by 48 hours, but we can get that out. Questions about parking. Plenty of parking available. Water and electrical hookups. No, water and electrical will be provided on site. However, access will need to be brought into the basement. There are questions about ventilation. There is no ventilation. Stairs, are stairs into the basement included? Yes, underside of the stairs is included. Think you guys can see all this. Questions about, how the SACI is available, what kind of packaging. It's available in kind of a couple of different options. And then the addendum number 2, there were just a couple of questions. Does the work need to be finished before the start of school on September 4th? It is preferable the work be completed before the start of school, but it may continue into the school year. Must be substantially complete by 30th of November. There is an order, there's a sequence here that SGH is directing them to proceed with A, B, C, and D, building E last. And we have work hours, 6 a.m. start, as early as 6 a.m. Given the economy's volatility, will there be any accommodation for any jumps in the cost of materials? I think this is a long no. I think that's
Right.
what I'm reading here. We suggest the successful bidder manage the procurement of the SACI materials in a timely manner to limit the cost of the project. Let's see, written documentation showing the pricing at the time of bidding, the time of procurement will be needed before a contract price adjustment is considered. So that's it. I think there's just that other clarification on the start date, and I think we're good. Bids come in again on Wednesday, April 2nd.
Chris, on your on the question about if it runs it past September, is there parking restrictions if it does that would be made aware of?
That's a great one, actually, Jay. I thought about that. Let's see. Hold on.
It might pick up in the third addendum.
Yeah, I want to. And I want to be sure Frank heard your question. That is an excellent question. It says access into the building will need to be, if work is still being completed after September 4th, access will have to be re-coordinated with the school. That's access. That's not parking. That's a great question.
It's just so tight there. I don't, if you get a 10 or 12 people working in this thing, I don't know where you're going to put them.
Yep. And where was the question about parking? Let me just go back to that real quick. What did we say about parking? Frank, were you in on the parking answer?
It said something about being during summer, so there wasn't an issue, I don't think.
Okay. During the summer, when school is out, there will be plenty of parking. During the school year, contractor parking will not be permitted in the school lot, but some street parking will be designated. Okay, so
That answers it.
that sort of is the answer. There will be
Yep.
some parking, but it will not be on property.
Okay.
I see Emily has her hand raised, Jay.
Yes, Emily?
Sorry, one other thing that comes up at some schools, if students are in the building while there's contractors in there, does Winchester require background checks? Sometimes that's a thing with.
Yeah, everybody would have to be quarried, yes. And
Okay. They already know that?
Yeah, I think that's in the front end
Oh.
spec.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's like that's actually our standard front end spec that gets incorporated. But
Okay.
you're 100% right.
Not to drag, but as a Murphy's Law, if it goes beyond the November date, do we have a language for liquidated damage, I guess, per day? I'm just curious. In the count? No. Okay.
I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay.
My sense from Jenny is that that shouldn't be an issue. I think
Okay.
she's very comfortable with the dates that they discussed.
Okay.
I mean, I think the only thing that would trigger that would be if suddenly like the product itself was somehow like not available or something. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's going to happen.
Okay.
Okay. Can move on to the manager's letter. Do you happen to have that, Chris?
Let me go look.
I have it here if you want.
You have it, Andy?
And Andy, you
Yeah.
want to share it? Is that all right?
Yeah, I can share it. I can share it.
Thanks.
So Chris, I also have the answer for you as well. So I was looking at the spec for the gymnasium, and there is a projector and a screen there too. So they do have a projector there and a 255 inches screen there in the gym. Okay, sir.
Okay.
All right.
And
That's on the base bid then, right, Andy?
That's the base bid. It's owned
Griffin
by
owns that. Okay.
yeah,
But-
occupied by Griffin. Yep.
That's great. But we presumably, do we have attic stock language that calls for some number of bulbs that we're setting aside? And if not, we can just circle back and figure that out if we need to. It would just be good to use project money to do that now and send them to the superintendent's office for storage.
Right.
Yeah, I can find out about the light bulbs.
Give them a nice big cabinet all labeled bulbs.
I think it's funny that you're saying that I even have an office. I think that's.
Looking behind you, you could fit a lot of attic stock in that room.
Could fit a lot in here, Jag. You're right. You're right.
Maybe whole district wide in there.
What you're not seeing is a closet over here in the corner too. So
Okay. So we have the letter and iPads, everything's on there.
So I'd be happy to make a motion if you would like, Jay.
Sure.
I move to authorize spending, as noted in the manager's letter this evening, to Bright Builders for PCO 24R2 for signage in the amount of $141,283.74 as presented. Bright Builders, that's a zero sum change, PCO 66R1 for the additional roof drain. To Bright PCO 76A for the bullet resistant glass, $25,898.92 as presented. Chromebooks and tech equipment that Andy presented totaling $377,524.55. To Apple for our iPads, $90,700, and to JamF software for our tech licenses, $1,237.50.
You have a second?
Second.
Is that Mark? Okay, Mark.
Yep.
All right, we'll do a roll call. Frank,
I
Lisa,
Yes.
Brendan,
Aye.
Todd,
Aye.
Geetha. See here. Geetha, you all set?
Yes.
Okay. John's not here. Colleen,
Aye.
Richard,
Yes.
Don,
Aye.
Emily.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And Jay, can I, maybe this is a good spot. Can I chime in with one other, just follow up on an item from our last meeting?
Yes.
That will be coming up. So you guys remember, I think it was our last meeting or meeting before, there was the proposal to get an ADA accessibility consultant in to look at Lynch, and Meg was going to reach out to the consultant based out of Chicago that did the townwide survey. I had some follow up with Lisa. Lisa's with us here tonight, I see. I had some follow up with Lisa. There's a firm actually very local to us that I've been really impressed with. In my day job, they are on the agenda with the MAAB almost at every meeting, representing municipalities across the state, including school districts. They absolutely do site visits, including during construction, and we're very impressed by them. It's actually KMA. I don't know if anybody else know Colleen, if you know them, or Mark does, but they're quite impressive. And the feeling is we might get more bang for our buck there because they're not flying in from Chicago. Number one. So Meg was okay and Jay was okay with us reaching out to them to get a proposal. I'm assuming if the committee is okay with that, that's what we will do. The last time we talked about it, it would be reaching out to somebody in Chicago. So we want to try with these guys first and just kind of see what we get. I think they'll be, they're like 20 minutes away instead of, a flight. So I think that might serve us a little bit better.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And
Thanks.
Chris, they do have a good reputation. I did check into them. It's good. I do know other towns and stuff that have utilized them. So I hope, hope they pan out well because I think it'll certainly help us,
Yeah, I'm working with them on 3 projects right now in Watertown, and I am actually extremely impressed with them.
All right, one thing that's not on the agenda, so we won't really discuss it tonight, but I want to make it aware for the next meeting on April 7th. But Lisa's has been contacted by some parents regarding, it just came about today, about some room reassignments and sizes. So we will discuss at the core meeting and try to get some information together and get it on the April 7th meeting. So there's time for any parents that have to be involved, Lisa.
Yeah.
to
Do
give
you
them
want me
plenty
to
of time.
talk? Do you want me to talk anything about it here, or would you rather?
No, we don't have it on the agenda, so
Okay.
we'll discuss it and then we'll make it on the agenda for the 7th.
Okay, great. I
That way the
greatly
parents that
appreciate
are
it. Yeah.
involved.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I want to make sure we've got this assigned correctly, as far
Okay.
as what the parents need and the students especially.
Right.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
Okay. That's it. Next meetings are April 7th and the 28th. We're gonna have a statement of interest, Chris, on the 7th.
Yeah,
possible?
so the statement of interest to the MSBA for Morocco, we're asking you guys just to be aware, we might, not sure how this is going to play out. The window closes on April 11th, so the SOI must be submitted to the MSBA then, and that'll be submitted by Frank or Andrew through the MSBA portal. What we've done typically in Winchester is when we're submitting kind of for the first time, or the first time in a long time, an SOI, because they have to be voted jointly by the school committee and the select board. We have sometimes scheduled a joint meeting of the school committee and the select board so that they can vote. We did this, I think, in 2017 when we were submitting on Morocco and Lynch. I don't believe we did it in 18 or 19, but that's because we were just updating the numbers and just sending in the update. So the pomp and circumstance was sort of different. This year, it's not really clear yet how we're going to do this. There's no requirement that the school committee and the board meet jointly, but they might. We, of course, meet on Mondays. The select board does as well. The select board has a meeting on April 7th. One of the options that we had been kicking around is that the school committee might join the select board for a vote. And if that were the case, some of us who would be here for an EFPBC meeting may need to be present for that meeting for either a presentation or questions. So that's just what I wanted to alert you guys to. The school committee, would typically meet on a Thursday. So we haven't really figured it out yet, but I want this to be on your radar. Because that if we meet on the 7th, we might have to meet at like a weird time or something to accommodate a joint vote. EFPBC does not have to vote on the SOI, but some of us here tonight would need to be at that meeting, and some of you just may want to watch it. But we haven't figured it out yet. When we will, we'll let you know.
Thank
A
you.
quick question, Dave, for maybe Andy or Meg is not here with the bridge work going on. Is that ongoing work is being blessed by Concom site visit? Just curious.
I think
Andy?
the answer to that is that I'm not sure, but we did ask the contractor to reach out when they did the foundation work for the bridge. We have let me see, Weston
ask the
Sampson out
contractor
there.
to reach out to Concom, you mean?
Yeah, they reach out to Concom saying that they're doing the work, and if there's any issue, we didn't get any response or anything like that. But we have Weston and Sampson out there most of the time. There isn't any issue. But the work, I believe, is already done for the foundation work. To get the sheet piling, everything in. It's going very well. but yeah, they have reached out to Concom, but they didn't visit, so yeah, no issue.
All right, motion to adjourn if everyone's all set.
So move 6:47. Oh, can I ask Mark Scott, is it a train or a plane?
Train.
Man,
I was
your
on
connect-
one
your con-
train and going to the next one.
Wow.
Your
I'll second the
connectivity is
motion.
awesome.
Get a
It
second?
looked like a.
I'll
it
give
looked like a-
you the second. That's
Okay, Lisa.
And I'm
Thank you.
glad you're on a train, Mark, not in the airplane. Call.
Yes, me too.
All right. Frank?
Aye.
All right, Lisa, we're all set. Brendan?
Aye.
Todd?
Yes.
Geetha?
Right.
Colleen?
Yes.
And we have Mark?
Aye.
Richard?
Yes.
Don?
Aye.
Emily?
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great week and
Thanks.
see you in a
Thank
couple
you.
weeks. We'll keep you
Thanks, everyone.
updated.
Later.
Good night.
Thanks.
Everybody.
Good night.